Hello everybody, this is Mrs. Barber and I'm back with Mr. Piggle for this morning's message. I am happy to bring you a message and I'm a little bit sleepy tonight. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I had extra long meetings with you today and I've been working really hard to take care of my family. And those things are very exciting, but they make me tired. Also, I made a giant poster for you tonight because tomorrow, dun dun dun, is this parade. I don't want to say our school name. It is our school parade where all the teachers are going to get in their cars and drive around, and I'm going to decorate my car like it's some kind of parade float. And so you'll have to spy me, and you know what my car looks like. And I made mystery pictures of each one of you. So on the very back of my car, there will be a picture of you. And it's a who's who. I didn't put any names. You have to see if you can guess which one you are. And I hope you come out with your families and stay, the distance away from your neighbors. And for extra bonus points, make a sign so I can see you very well out of paper or a paper bag. And if you put our room number 8, that would be extra super great. So that I have a short message today, a story, and a super challenge for you in the end. I'm not really going to paint or make something. I'm going to give you a challenge with some ideas for something you need to present to the class next week. So this is a story I read to you on the first days that I met you. And it's called The Teeny Tiny Teacher. And I just really like this. And I was thinking about what is the story I want to do for the parade and for Earth Day. And just to tell you I miss you and I love you. And then this book just caught my eye. I brought so many books home to read to you, but this is the one for today. It's called The Teeny Tiny Teacher. And even though it is a young-looking book, it is Lexile 1000, if you believe that. So here we go, The Teeny Tiny Teacher. And while it's happening, think about the nature things, because for Earth Day Challenge, you might use some nature. I'll explain that at the end. The Teeny Tiny Teacher, a teeny tiny ghost story adapted a teeny tiny bit. I'm going to say teeny tiny a lot. Once upon a time, there was a teeny tiny teacher who taught in a teeny tiny school in a teeny tiny town. One teeny tiny morning, after taking the teeny tiny attendance and singing teeny tiny morning songs, the teeny tiny teacher said, "Who would like to take a teeny tiny walk?" "Me!" called all the teeny tiny students in their teeny tiny voices. Remember when we used to take nature walks, and that would be so fun, and we would collect things, and then we'd come back to class and we'd all talk and show what's in our bags, or we'd go outside and read stories in the field, or play together outside. That's a good thing to think about while you're listening to this story. All the happy memories we have about the times that we were together. The teeny tiny students put on their teeny tiny coats and their teeny tiny hats. They made 2 teeny tiny lines holding teeny tiny hands. As they walked to the teeny tiny park, look how little they are compared to those birds. At the teeny tiny park, they found many teeny tiny things. Teeny tiny leaves, teeny tiny sticks, teeny tiny rocks, teeny tiny feathers, and the teeny tiny teacher found a teeny tiny bone. "I will save this teeny tiny bone for our teeny tiny science lesson." And the teeny tiny teacher put her teeny tiny, said to her teacher, bleh, and said the teeny tiny teacher to her teeny tiny self. She put the teeny tiny bone into her teeny tiny pocket. Like you, sometimes when I read too fast, the words get all mumbly jumbly, and when I'm tired, it is even worse, which is me tonight. So I was thinking about this page and how when I was your age, I used to pretend the Smurfs lived under the tree near my house. So if you have any kind of plants in your garden or a bush, you can go outside and you can try to look for teeny tiny guys. See, could these guys live? What would they like that's at your house? It's an imagination game. When the teeny tiny class got back to their teeny tiny room, they hung their teeny tiny coats and their teeny tiny hats in the teeny tiny closet. The teeny tiny teacher forgot all about the teeny tiny bone in her teeny tiny pocket. "Who is ready for a teeny tiny snack?" asked the teeny tiny teacher. We are, said all the teeny tiny students. While the teeny tiny teacher was filling teeny tiny cups of juice, a teeny tiny voice whispered, Give me my bow. The teeny tiny teacher smiled, thinking a teeny tiny student was playing a teeny tiny trick on her. Someone is being a teeny tiny bit silly, said the teeny tiny teacher. And then she handed out the teeny tiny cups of juice and passed around teeny tiny cookies. The teeny tiny students were enjoying their teeny tiny snack when the teeny tiny voice said a teeny tiny bit louder, Give me my bone. The teeny tiny students were a teeny tiny bit frightened. They spilled their teeny tiny cups of juice and dropped their teeny tiny cookies all over the teeny tiny floor. Someone is being more than a teeny tiny bit silly now, said the teeny tiny teacher with her teeny tiny hands on her teeny tiny hips. Teeny tiny students who have something to say must raise their teeny tiny hands. Oh, she's getting annoyed now. A teeny tiny student raised her teeny tiny hand and said, The teeny tiny voice came from our teeny tiny closet. Teeny tiny closets do not talk, said the teeny tiny teacher. Then she helped her teeny tiny students clean up the teeny tiny room. I like that picture with that big sponge. That reminds me of you after we would do shaving cream. Oh, we would have such a mess in our class. And we'd clean them up with sponges and you would make more mess than you helped with. That is a funny thing that used to happen. When the teeny tiny room was a teeny tiny bit tidy, the teeny tiny teacher said, Who would like to help me write a teeny tiny story about our teeny tiny walk? Me, said all the teeny tiny students. They were taking turns telling the teeny tiny teacher what to write when the teeny tiny closet started to shake and rattle, and the teeny tiny voice called out a teeny tiny bit louder, Give me my bone. A teeny tiny story. This morning, our teeny tiny class went for a teeny tiny walk. We found many teeny tiny things. Now, the teeny tiny students and the teeny tiny teacher were a teeny tiny bit frightened. They hid under their teeny tiny desks. They had been hiding just a teeny tiny time when the teeny tiny voice called out a teeny tiny bit louder than before. Give me my bone. This made the teeny tiny teacher and her teeny tiny students a teeny tiny bit more frightened, so they hid under a teeny tiny bit farther under their teeny tiny desks. They were shivering and shaking a teeny tiny bit when the teeny tiny voice called again a teeny tiny bit louder, Give me my bone. The teeny tiny teacher was not about to let the teeny tiny voice frighten her teeny tiny students another teeny tiny minute, so she popped up from her teeny tiny desk and shouted in her loudest teeny tiny voice, Take it. After that, the teeny tiny I think she would actually not say it like that. So she said, Take it. I think she'd say, Take it. After that, the teeny tiny teacher and her teeny tiny students never heard the teeny tiny voice again. And he changed it to teeny tiny ghost story. And that is the teeny tiny end. I cannot wait to see you today out in your yards. Tomorrow is Earth Day. It's my friend's birthday on Earth Day. And Earth Day challenge is this. So you can, one, invent something. So you can invent it out of paper. So the Earth Day challenge is make the world a better place. Like an environmental challenge. Remember we talked about reduce, reuse, recycle. You can invent something that would make the world a better place. And you can invent it using recyclables. You can tape them all together. But if you don't have recyclables, you can draw it on a paper. And if you don't draw it on a paper or a poster, you can do it on your whiteboard, or you can just tell us about your invention. Another Earth Day challenge is a nature challenge. You can make something out of nature. You can garden. You can go outside and design something and take a picture of it. Doing something in the yard with nature is an Earth Day challenge. And number 3 is your ideas. Do you want to write an Earth Day song? Do you want to make a poem? Do you want to make a skit up with your family where you guys teach us about ways to make the world a better place? Your ideas are wonderful. So an idea that I'm giving you is to invent something on paper, out of cardboard, out of bottles, and you tell us what it is. Go out in nature, garden, plant something, tend to the flowers, take deep breaths, think about it. Your ideas, write a poem about nature, Earth Day, because all of these are make the world a better place ideas. And we will share them with each other next week. So you have a little while, and we'll talk about them in class. But I am so excited to see you very, very soon. 12:30, I'll be driving my old car around, and there will be pictures of you, and you have to spy which one is you. Okay, I'll see you later. I love you very, very much.